for the month. And so that's just us. We were painting, like every day we painted all the buildings at the camp. And so that's what we did. And we stayed out there and we like cooked under a fire at the camp because it was pretty rugged. So that's just our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that we had for lunch. But that was kind of like, we would assign a person each day to make lunch and then we would just continue on our day. That's the whole group that was with us in Zimbabwe. There was 2 teams out of like 5 teams total that went and worked with the missionaries. You can see the guy in the left. One of my good friends, Jen, she was on my team. She actually just moved there like 3 days ago. She's moving to Zimbabwe to work with the family and establish like a ministry for young women. And she was like just texting me yesterday and just like telling me like all these things that are happening. Like she just found out there's like a big prostitution problem in like the city that we lived in, and we didn't like know that when we were there. But she's just like learning so much more about like where we were. And there's like just a lot of like bad stuff. And so she's learning more about that. If you keep it on that picture first, this one for a second. So this was March of last year that we were there. And so there's like a farming problem. There's a lot of like political stuff. So if like the United States were to send aid to Zimbabwe, the government would steal it and wouldn't give it to the people because there's like this big thing with like the governor or the president that's in power. And so they try to like farm, the people do, because like the United States can't send aid there. But they were in a drought last year. And so they knew that like our contact, our missionary was telling us that like, yeah, in a couple months, like people are gonna die because there's not enough food. Like the farm crop isn't gonna be big enough. And it's like, what do you do with that? Like, you know, you can't do anything. Like I can't bring them food or like help them farm. And like you can't make more rain come, you know? But I like was thinking about that one day while we were there and I was like, well, like God can do that. So I had this idea, I was like, you guys, like, we need to pray for rain. And so we spent like the next couple of days, like every chance we got praying for rain. Like it hadn't rained the whole month we were there. And so we're like, well, you know, whatever, like it'll all work out or whatever. And the last day we were in Zimbabwe, we were driving back from the camp, going back to the missionary's house to like get on a bus the next morning to leave. And we were driving and we like saw the clouds coming. And there was actually like, it was so dry, there was a lot of fires and stuff, like it was bad. And so we're driving back to their house and like we pull in the driveway and it just starts like downpouring rain. Like it hadn't rained in a whole month and it's just like downpouring rain. And so we were just like so excited, like that's us dancing in the rain after that because like we could not believe like our last day in Zimbabwe and it was like so much rain, like all this rain was just like waiting and it just like came down. And I don't know if that like helped at all, but it was like significant to us that like we just like prayed for rain and then the last day we were there it just like downpoured. And they're in a drought this year too. I just heard from my friend Jen and so she said that it's going to be like that same thing this year. But I guess it's just like we just learned to like pray in those situations when you feel like you can't do anything. You can pray. So it's kind of just sort of behind that picture. When we were there, we also got to go on a safari. So that's a group of us that went on the safari. That's a hippo in the background. You can see back there. So that was fun. That was actually in Botswana, so it was like the neighboring country, because the is Zimbabwe. But yeah, that's going for the day. That's a selfie with the hippo. Oh yeah, that's Victoria Falls. So that's like one of the highest waterfalls in the world. And so we were there, like just like looking at it from the edge, and these guys asked us like, "Do you want to like go and like go to the edge?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." Like we thought it was just like you like walked a little bit and got to the edge. Well, like an hour later, we reached the edge after like swimming through these things. And if you would have like stopped swimming, you would have like gone over the edge. It was like 300 feet down. And so we didn't know that when we like signed up to do it, but we just like did it. And we got to the edge and it was just like the most miraculous, beautiful thing we'd ever seen. Like we were so excited that we made it and like celebrating. Of course we had to get back, so it was like an hour back. And I like got stuck in like a whirlpool thing and I like had to reach out and like yell help. And someone like pulled me out of it. But so I was like shaking the rest of the day and I would never do that again, but it was like the most intense thing I've ever done. So after 3 months in Africa, we were excited and ready to kind of leave. It was really challenging and tough, and so we were like, yes, we're gonna get out of here. And like, not in a bad way, but like things are just like so primitive and it's so like tough to live there. And in Zimbabwe, we couldn't leave our house either because of safety reasons. So we could either be at a camp or the house, but we couldn't go anywhere. Like we didn't have any freedom to go anywhere because of safety concerns, especially like being Americans. They don't really like Americans there. So we made it to Malaysia, and that's in Southeast Asia. And what we did there, we worked at St. Nicholas Home for the Blind, and so we were on this little island in Malaysia, and we worked with people that were blind and deaf. And so we did a lot of different things. They had like, we're making all of these braille machines, and so we spent like days in the afternoon just like sorting screws, and so that a blind guy could fix the machines, but he needed us to like sort the screws so that he could like know where they were. So we did that for like days in the afternoon. My thing that I did was I played in the preschool with these little boys and girls that were blind, and so they were like 3 and 4, but they were blind. So I would just sit there and like play with them and talk with them and try to like teach them how to like walk and like do things that they like couldn't do on their own because they were blind, kind of like figuring it out. That picture of the ice cream cone is because like the food there was just like so terrible at the place we were staying at, that there was a McDonald's right down the street, and so we would like walk there every day and eat McDonald's. So we got like addicted to McDonald's because of that. I don't know what's that. So that was my friend Allison, and then we took that picture because we were having team changes again because it was like 4 months since our last team changes. So this was in April of last year, and so we had team changes, but she had been on my team with me the whole time, and that was the moment that we found out that we were going to be on the same team again. So that means we would have spent the whole 11 months together, every single day, like 24/7. And that was only like one of like a couple people that did that. Most people like their whole team switched, but we got to stay together the whole time. And she's just an awesome person, and we were excited just to be able to like share that whole 11 months with that person. So like when I'm talking with Allison, she'll remember like every story that I have because she was there also. So then we made it to Thailand, and there's my dad. He got to come to Thailand along with a bunch of other parents for the thing they call Parent Vision Trip. And what they do during that is they just bring the parents to wherever we are, usually in month 9 for a week. And so they just kind of learn about what we're doing. They do it towards the end so that like parents can kind of understand what we went through, so that when we like get back, that there'll be like a little bit of like understanding. And so he came with, and we got to do ministry together for the week. And so what we did is we like went to a slum that had just like burned down, and we got to play with the kids. That's us with an elephant. We got to go and visit some elephants that they like rescued from a park. And so that was a really fun time. We got to like bathe them and stuff and feed them. But yeah, the next picture, all those guys' home just burnt down. And so we got to just like play with them. We brought some cars, and we just sat on the ground and played with them. They didn't speak English or anything. So we just kind of got to play with them and stuff. So that was really fun. We also got to do something else. We got to visit girls that were caught in prostitution. So they were in bars working. And so, that's my team. So most of my teammates, their parents came. And so that was us on one day. And so we just got to spend a lot of time with our parents and with the other parents. We got to do like worship together and a bunch of different things. It was just an awesome time to like have, a bunch of racers and then a bunch of parents, and just to like see them like live like the life we live, which is just like very bizarre, and like jumping on random tuk-tuk little taxi things, and just everything was just, it was fun and just an exciting experience. So that is the red light district in Bangkok, Thailand, and it was like a mall type experience, and you can kind of imagine what happens there. But so that is a picture of it, and I'll just show you a little video about what we were just trying to do there.
She's beautiful. She's valued. She's a daughter of God, and tonight she will be purchased for sex. She's worth more, and we want her to know that.
Dear beloved child, do you know whose you are, who you irrevocably belong to? Mine. You're mine. Precious to my sight, to my heart. You belong to me, your creator, king, and savior. Your perfect friend and father. The world tries to command, chain, and claim you, force-feeding you filthy, slimy lies that choke my breath out of you. Don't listen. Shh. Hear me now. You do not belong to the night, to the darkness of weary hopelessness and lonely despair. You do not belong to the bars or beyond, the prisons of torment, pleasure, and confusion, the closed, secret places of shame and fear. You do not belong to the ones who name your value with a number, who strip you of your voice, exchanging it with their drowning noise. You do not belong to your body, the desire, functions, and failures of it, the betrayal and disappointment it serves you on the daily. You do not belong to the price tags that commodify, dehumanize, and deceive you, declaring your disposability. You do not belong to here, because you belong to me, the light, love, joy, hope, peace, and truth that gave you life, that gives you freedom, and assigns unfathomable value to every part of you. You belong to me. You come from me. My hands of love or beauty crafted you perfectly, intricately, purposefully. And that means you're ridiculously priceless. You are worth infinitely more than you will ever know. Believe that. Walk in that. Whatever the world hurls at you, remember and sling back the truth that you're worth more. More and more and more and more. There's no end to it, I promise.